Hands up, who here has ever been to see a psychic? Now, hands up, who doesn't believe in psychics? Usually my husband will put his hand up with that one. Now, I believe in psychics. And do you want to know why? Because I am one. But I also don't believe in psychics because I'm what you would call a skeptical one. You see, throughout the ages, mankind has looked not only to the stars for the answers, but they have sought seers, psychics, prophets, oracles, astrologers, and the likes. And throughout the millennia, in today's world, not much has changed because it seems that everywhere you go, there is always a psychic, whether it's on television, on the phone, online, or even at a party. But how do you spot a fake psychic? I mean, if they were really good psychics, wouldn't they know what colour underwear you're all wearing? Or wouldn't they know the lotto numbers? Now, just on a side note there, they say that when you get up to speak in front of a lot of people and you're feeling very nervous, the best thing to calm your nerves is to imagine your audience in their underwear. So not only am I trying to imagine you all in your underwear, but I'm also psychic. So I'm just going to leave you all with that. But it doesn't work that way. And a good psychic knows that. So I want to take you on a journey back to 1985, when I had just finished my high school certificate. As I left the gates of my high school, the very next day, I did two things. First, my girlfriend and I, my best friend, we went down to the Social Security office and put ourselves on the dole. And a lot of you here are old enough to know what Social Security and the dole was. Much to my parents' horror, who quickly ran out to find me a job so I could survive in the big wide world. The second thing I did was go see a psychic. Now you can imagine I was just about to turn 18. I had eyes wide open and I couldn't wait to hear when my Prince Charming would come along on his white horse, sweep me off my feet, and off we rode into the sunset towards his castle where we would live happily ever after. Instead, this psychic told me that Prince Charming didn't exist and that my life would be filled with a lot of bad luck. Now, the intuitive side of me knew that I was destined for more, but the 18-year-old, almost 18-year-old rebel was going to go out and prove this psychic wrong. To the fact that I did find Prince Charming, and he's sitting right over there. Now, I have worked in the spiritual industry for over 30 years. And I put the word spiritual in inverted commas because from what I have seen, it has been far from spiritual. Now, people seem to get a misconception. They think that because somebody is psychic, they are automatically spiritual. But I just want to pull you up with two names, Aleister Crowley and Hitler. Most of you here probably don't know who Aleister Crowley is, and nor would you want to, but we all know who Hitler was. And Hitler was an extremely powerful magician and psychic. So just want to leave you with that. Think about that for a moment, because we all know he was far from spiritual, and spiritual in the words is what we know spiritual to be. So working in this industry, I have seen it being filled with fakes, frauds, charlatans, jealousies, backstabbing, and nastiness, and a whole heap of egos. It's a $22 billion industry a year. I'm just going to repeat that, $22 billion a year industry. And any one of you right now could walk out of these doors and become a psychic. And we don't need to go and do all the hard work like an astro engineer does to get a title. So over the years, I have been very blessed to have met some amazing psychics and mediums, and I've worked with some very wonderful people who have truly come from the heart. But it got to a stage where I could not go to sleep at night when I saw so much fakeness. And I guess through COVID, which was probably the catalyst for giving me the time to write the book, well, I saw friends and family losing businesses. My husband was out of work, and yet our psychic phone lines were going nuts. Everyone I knew, friends that I knew who were psychics, were making so much money over COVID because everybody wanted to get on the phone and find out what was going to happen. So I guess for me, it's been very hard to stand here and talk about an industry that I have felt very passionate about. And I guess in a way I've become a little bit of a whistleblower. But I knew one thing, I knew that I would lose a lot of friends, and that was okay because they were never going to be my true friends anyway. But I also knew that those that yelled the loudest would have the most to hide. So let's just say I've been deleted and blocked off a lot of psychics' pages now. I believe that when somebody comes to see you for a reading, we have a responsibility. Most psychics don't have any background in counselling or anything like that to help their client. And I have seen times when people have come in suicidal. And depending on how that psychic can relay the message to them, they can either walk out the door and turn left and go and neck themselves, which has happened, or they can turn right and they can make their lives much more amazing than it ever was, and that has happened too. Now, I know somebody during COVID who made herself in excess of $5,000 a week. She's got no school or tertiary education whatsoever. All she's got is a good gift of the gab, and she knows how to tell people what it is that they wanted to hear. So it's not a bad income. She's booked out until April 2024, so you do the math. I also know of a psychic who woke up one night with a gun pointed towards her head. Earlier that morning, she had told her client that she needed to leave her husband. Now, just remember that this psychic's got no formal qualifications in counselling. Now, if this psychic was psychic enough, she would have known that her client's husband was an extremely dangerous man, and she instead should have sent her client straight to the police. So what happened? The client went back, told her husband what was said, and hence my friend woke up with a gun towards her head. She was very lucky he didn't pull the trigger. Then there is Tammy. Tammy is into women's empowerment. She's a psychic that likes to help women stand in their power, be strong, we don't need a man, be independent. But little does anybody know that Tammy goes home to an abusive husband who not only is abusive verbally, but violently abusive, and he garnishes her wages as well. Then I have my friend Mary. Mary is one of those life coaches that likes to help people get their shit together when she in no way has got hers in any order. Mary helps people get their businesses together and their finances, and she's really all about, making money and manifesting and the law of attraction. But every week when she would come to work with me, she would complain that she didn't have enough money for her bills, for her rent, and she would ask me every single week for $2.50 that she could borrow from me because she didn't have enough money to buy herself a cup of tea. So I guess in closing, my message for the book was to really let people know that you can be fooled. There's one of my gurus in the book. His name is Colin and he's my Mr. Miyagi. And he taught me one thing, that everything in life is an illusion. So I've got fake eyelashes on right now. I have fake nails. Normally I would have some fake hair. But one thing I know I'm not, and that's a fake psychic. So my parting words to all of you today are words from Matthew. Matthew was a very good friend of our old mate Jesus. Don't ask me what verse it was because I don't know. But what he says is to be aware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, because inwardly they are ravenous wolves, and you will know them by their fruits.